Hi y'all, this is Mike Peace with another woodturning tip of the week. Okay, this tip applies to U.S. tax law and probably has no meaning to any of my international viewers. I want to clarify a common tax law misunderstanding that many artists in the USA have, including woodturners. And that relates to being able to take a charitable deduction for artistic work, such as a painting or woodturning. First, let me clarify my credentials. Okay, I'm not a certified public accountant. I did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, and I'm not a tax professional. So what do I know about personal tax law? Well, I did complete a few courses in accounting many years ago, about 45 years ago. I've been doing my own taxes for about 45 years, and for the past 3 years I've been working as an unpaid tax volunteer for the AARP Foundation tax aid. So I suppose you could call me a tax amateur. So let's get into some details. What I want to explain relates only if you're doing itemized tax return. If you're doing taking a standard deduction, of course, contributions are not going to be relevant to you. So let's assume you do itemize your deductions. The general rule of thumb is that you can deduct contributions of money or property you make to a qualified organization. Qualified organizations would include your church, for example, and other bona fide charities, including goodwill stores. So if you give property to a qualified organization, generally you can deduct the fair market value of the property at the time of the contribution. Let's look at a typical example. Let's say you give a used sofa to a goodwill store and they could sell it for $50. Then you can take a $50 charitable tax deduction when you itemize your return. But the rules change when you create something like a painting or a piece of wood-turning art. In this case, you're limited only to your actual costs, not what the fair market value is, not what it might sell for. Here's a real example from my own wood-turning experience. I wood-turned 3 offering plates for my church. If I were selling these, I might sell them for $80 each for a total of 3 times 80 for $240. But based on the U.S. tax code and U.S. IRS regulations, I'm limited to my actual costs, and that doesn't include labor. Labor is not a qualified cost for this. I bought a kiln-dried piece of lumber, 8-quarter red oak, which cost $34. So my charitable contribution is going to be limited to that $34 I paid for the lumber. Of course, I still need to have a receipt of what I paid for that lumber, and I also need to have a receipt from my church stating that I donated 3 donation plates. True story. I did actually work for Internal Revenue Service many years ago when I got out of graduate school, where I received a master's in business administration. But I actually worked in personnel, dealing with hiring new employees and advising managers on employee relations matters. So if you do have a real tax question, contact a real tax professional. Hope this has been useful for you. Safe turning.